Hello. It's been a few months since we had our last episode here. How you been doing? Over the past few months, I wanted to share some of my insights and learnings I've had on this bullet journaling journey. Let's go and jump right into this. Last time we were here, we kind of looked at the bullet journaling experience as a whole. What's the basics, what's it all about? Key takeaway I would say is that it is a mindfulness practice disguised as a productivity system. Now that's not my quote, it's actually a quote from the author himself, so please check out that for more information there. But I wanted to show you the day by day, what's been working for me, what it all really means. Let me show you here. Starting off with January here, I've had this concept of creating a graphical representation of a few key habits that I've been wanting to track. Namely just how much sleep I was getting and how many times I was cooking at home. I figure, hey, if I'm gonna cook at home, I'm gonna save some money and I'm gonna become a better cook too. It's a win-win to me. One of the things you're gonna notice right away looking at this is that, wow, there are some dramatic swings in how much sleep I got some nights. From hardly 4 to catching up and getting 12 the next night. But the real question is, what do you do with this information? Well, one thing that I found worked for me is that I started setting an alarm clock before I went to bed, or when I thought I needed to go to bed. That way, it's gonna allow me to settle down for the night and attempt to get my 6 to 8 hours-ish every night. Especially working from home, it just makes life a little bit more difficult sometimes to stay consistent. This definitely helped me do this, and I saw this right away because I was tracking how much sleep I was getting. By tracking it, got to see what it was I actually going through, and that was just a big help. So you can see in this instance, bullet journaling was a great help. Next up, here in February, we can see a common thing that happens in journaling or habit tracking in general. I stopped. It's tough to stay consistent, but importantly, it's gonna be okay. You can jump right back into it. I wrote down a nice quote here, which is, a winner is gonna fail, but they're gonna get up. Fail and get up. That's important. Just keep going. Something else I noticed along my journal here is that I'm actually a recent transplant to the Pacific Northwest, and this weather has played a huge effect on some of my day-to-day moods and activities. So I started tracking it. I felt it was going to be good for me to know what's going to happen in the next few days so I can plan accordingly. Then you see that here. Continue to track how much I was running or working out in general. Just keeps me honest. I do want to have honest conversations with myself. If I'm not training, I'm not going to get the results. And that's part of another quote that I wrote on my front page here, which is focus on the system, not the results. It's actually another concept that comes from the book Atomic Habits, which I would highly recommend as well. Focusing on building my system rather than saying I want to lose the weight or I want to achieve this run time, but just a daily precedence of continuing to chase excellence was a great piece of advice from the book. March is come and gone, but here if we look at this, we can see again, I dropped off on counting how many times I was cooking at home. I was still doing it, but I actually dropped off a little bit on how I was journaling again during this month. I even wrote about it here in my processes. But another tip I found really helpful in my processes is that if I wanted to stay consistent with this journaling, I needed to make this habit more visible, easier to do. So then I actually started to put my journal right in front of me. That way I could see it and it'd be like, oh yeah, this is kind of important to me and I do want to keep this practice up. Now it's just easier for me to get complete. And through the magic of filmmaking, we're at a different day now. One of the things I had planned for the month of April was actually a little vacation. I was gonna go back to our hometown, visit my friends, have a good time, just enjoy myself. But hey, you're gonna spend a little bit of money, go on a vacation, you're gonna splurge a little bit, right? So I thought, why am I not just tracking how much money I'm spending? So that's what I started to add here in my April monthly tracker. Now there's plenty of ways to start budgeting and there's plenty of apps, and I just figured, hey, I'm a single guy, I don't have much going on. I can pretty much track how much money I'm spending pretty easily. Why not just to keep that there? And ultimately it's, hey, I want to be consistent and honest with myself. In the same way I was honest with myself about how I'm doing my exercise regimens, I should be pretty honest with myself where my money's going. It's pretty important to financially build your base. So that's what I really wanted to focus on starting from the month of April on. Not that I wasn't doing that beforehand, but it was just a little bit more hidden. This way, it keeps more in my face, and I am a little bit more careful with how I'm going to spend some money. To think to myself, hey, well, I got to write this down, or is this really what I should be using this for? Now it's more in my face. The other thing I really started to do in the month of April was really take advantage of that whole journaling piece of this bullet journaling experience. Now I have this, fancy habit tracker that I've been implementing for a number of years actually, but I started to sit down a lot more and just write about my thoughts, what I'm going on, what's thinking through my head. Come up with a bunch of ideas, and sometimes it's just good to meditate and let those thoughts be known. Put them out in the universe, as I like to say. That really started to hit home in the month of April. That's a trend that's going to continue on throughout this experience, and I want to show you a little bit what that looked like too. Now, we're going to get into the month of May, and one of the things I got really excited about for the month of May is adding a lot more art or a little calligraphy styling to my journal. Oddly enough, I've actually had these calligraphy pens for a number of months now, but I never really took the time to learn how to use them correctly. That changed here in May. Actually, it changed in April. I started practicing a little bit, and I said to myself, well, why don't I just start doing this into my journaling system as well? And I think it just added another layer of meditative and mindfulness to it, because now when I do things, I try to make it look a little nice, a little pretty. It's still perform its primary function. I'm going to use it as a productivity system to keep track of what I want to get done in my life. But now, hey, I can add a little flair to it. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about the bullet journaling system is that this is entirely your own. You can do whatever you want to do with it. Now that we're in the month of June here, well, this video will probably be released, I don't know, mid to late June. I'm still doing the same sort of thing, right? I'm still tracking all the habits I want to. I'm still adding this calligraphy flair to my journaling system. But every little piece you can see, it just adds a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I didn't start off gung-ho. I didn't just add all of this items to this journal right away. It comes to practice and throughout the months. And I think that's my main takeaway out of all of it, aside from the main mission of what a bullet journal is. Take it at your own pace, and definitely do not add a lot of things that are probably going to go way over your head. You're going to get overwhelmed. Slowly progress on this journal. It is your own. It is about you. It's what you want to make out of it. Now, here, I've shown some steps and some things that will work for me, but I'm really hoping that you can share yours with me as well, and we can, build a little community and a little networking. I think it's a fun, meditative exercise, and I'd love to see what you guys do in your life. So please let me know in the chat below, in the comments below. It'll be great.